episode 10, ladies and gentlemen, the Fallout. And it's your boy Icon back with some DC TV because Naomi is back. So, in our last episode, which was a month ago, wow, she had just discovered that her parents were aliens. And although her parents are aliens, her parents are not part of the 29, and they do not have superpowers, but they are aliens. And she's upset. You know, she's a teenage girl, she gets very emotional, and she's mad at her parents. So, but because she has superpowers, she doesn't just go into her room and decide not to talk to her parents. She actually packs up all of her stuff, and she goes to her best friend's house, who's still calling her babe, and she hides out at her best friend's house, while she tries to figure out what she's gonna do. So, like her besties, Annabelle's talking to her, and, Annabelle's just like, they're your parents, and they love you, and then she's like, oh, don't tell me to talk to my parents. And I'm like, well, you kind of got to talk to them eventually because you can't live with Annabelle forever. And then the two of them are in the forest and they decide to go back to the stone where Naomi was first found. She uses her power to blow up the stone. And when she blows up the stone, she finds this cube. It's a small, like, glowing cube that was hidden within the stone. And she takes the stone and she takes the cube and she's like, well, I need to find out what this has to do with my life and where this comes from. She talks to Zombadu and she talks to Dee, and then, that's when Zombadu had let it be known that he kind of knew her parents back on Earth 29, but they weren't like cool. And then he was like, when I saw you on Earth with Greg and Jennifer, he was like, I knew you were, I don't know if Greg's his name, I forget. He was like, I knew you were okay. And then she was like, you knew my parents and you didn't say anything. And he's like, I wasn't your daddy, so it wasn't my place to tell you. And then she kind of gets mad at Zombadu, and then she goes off on her own. She takes the cube down to like some alien bar, and she wanted like random people she didn't know to look at the cube and tell her what it was. Some of the people at the bar try to run up on her and try to take the cube from her, and then that's when Akira shows up of all people and tells her, she's like, woman, we need to go right now. And then Akira was talking to her, she's like, what are you doing, bringing this thing to some random alien bar? And then she's just like, oh, but everybody's lying to me and I don't know what to do. And then she was like, where did this cube come from? And she was like, I made it. She's the one that created the cube, and she said that the cube is actually a transmat portal. It's a portal. It can teleport anybody, like, I guess from Earth 29 to anywhere in the world. And she told Naomi that she designed the cube so this way the 29 can escape, the 29 can escape Earth 29, and they can, take refuge somewhere on Earth. That's how afraid they were of Brutus. And then Naomi was just like, oh, she was like, so I can use this to go back to my planet. And then Akira was like, why the hell would you want to do that? Because she didn't really tell her yet about the whole thing with Brutus. She was just like, don't ever go back there. You don't want to go there. And then she's like, why? And then the principal of her school walked in, walked into, into the comic book shop, because in order, like, when Naomi needed a ride to get to the alien bar, she had the purple hair girl take her down to the, to the alien bar. And then when Akira showed up, then they went back to the comic book store and they hid out in the comic book store. And then that's when the principal showed up and he busted her and took her back to school. They called her parents showed up, and then her parents were just like, listen, honey, it's time for you to come home. And she's like, I'm not coming home. And she's like, you can't enforce the rules because you don't have superpowers unless you're relying on me. And she gets mad and she goes back to Annabelle's house. So now she's mad, and and then like she's still talking to Annabelle. She's trying to figure out her next steps and what she's gonna do. But she did get to know Akira a little bit more as far as like her intentions about helping her or not. Akira then, she gets rolled up on by the actress who played Piper on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Not only did she play Piper on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., she also played on Supergirl, I think in the first 3 seasons of Supergirl. She played a DEO agent on Supergirl, but she was also playing an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the same time. She kept going back and forth between both shows, and then eventually she quit Supergirl, and then she finished out, with S.H.I.E.L.D., I guess because S.H.I.E.L.D. gave her like a bigger role as far as like a character was concerned. And now that both shows are over, and now she's on Naomi. She's a character named Mac who was sent here by Brutus to recruit Akira to help bring Naomi back to Earth 29. And then Akira was just like, no. She was like, Brutus and I only worked together that one time, because Akira said that she was the one that dimed out Zombadu to Brutus. But because she basically traded the lives of the 29 for Zombadu. She was like, the pact that her and Brutus made was, if she sells out Zombadu, Brutus would let the 29 go. And I guess that didn't work, and they all found a way to escape through that transmat cube. They all like dipped and like ran to Earth. I mean, I don't know how like Naomi's parents got there because they're not part of the 29, but I mean that there's more to the story about her planet that we don't know. But one thing that we do know is that Brutus has apparently taken over the planet, and a lot of people basically just fled the planet because it's not safe for them to go back to. There was even a moment where the dad, I believe his name is Greg. I'm calling him Greg. There was a moment where Greg and Zumbadu teamed up together to try to erase Naomi's like energy signature from Star Labs. And then that's when Zumbadu and Greg got into a conversation because he was just like, oh, you lied to that girl her whole life. And, you know, I was forced to keep the lies. And then his whole thing was, but then Greg's whole thing was, he was like, oh, we don't want you to do what your plans are. That's our daughter. We want to keep her safe. And he's like, Naomi's the only one that can save us all. And he was like, I don't want to hear it. That's my daughter. They basically went back and forth. Akira ended up going to Zumbadu, and then the two of them had a conversation. Come to find out, basically what it is that Brutus wants Naomi on his side because Brutus feels that Naomi is the only being powerful enough to defeat him. Zumbadu wants to use Naomi to go back to Earth 29 and help him take out Brutus. But Naomi's parents don't want her to do that. Akira definitely doesn't want to do that. And how many other members of the 29 are left, they don't want that as well. It was one of those things where everybody would rather just run from Brutus and leave the planet rather than face Brutus. And then Akira wasn't even sure if Naomi was the person who could defeat him. Anyway, Zumbadu was the only person who believed that Naomi was powerful enough to defeat him. And I guess her fear got the better of her, which is why she dimed him out to Brutus. But now that they're all together, like Zumbadu said, he was like, yo, Brutus coming for her anyway. So the fact that Brutus is coming for her, we might as well team up with her and to help her take out him. So now Akira's kind of on board with that plan. And then she's just like, what do we do now? And then he was like, every single person that Naomi knows, is in danger. So we got to protect them. So the two of them are teamed up now. They've decided to make a pact. And then he was like, the last time they had a drink together, to like seal the deal. And he was like, last time we had a drink together, your ass sold me. Like the dynamic between them, I can see is going to be very funny. And then finally, like the purple hair girl, she invited Naomi to a party. And Naomi showed up at the party. She invited Annabelle to the party. The three of them were at the party. They're taking selfies and they're dancing and they're chilling and everything. And then there was a moment where the purple haired girl had got her in the corner, and then she tried to kiss her, and Naomi pulled back. So then, and this is where the purple haired girl lost me. She was just like, I thought we were vibing. She's like, I thought we had a connection. And then Naomi was like, yeah, as friends. She was like, you're my friend. I thought we were just dancing, hanging out, and just chilling. And then the purple hair girl was like, I want to be more than friends. And then Naomi was like, but I got a boyfriend. And then she was just like, I don't want to be used for car rides and blah, blah. And I was like, first of all, see, this was getting me mad. First of all, for her to be offended and saying like, oh, you're using me for car rides and whatever the case may be. The girl invited you to her parents' anniversary. She's not using you. And then you knew she had a boyfriend. So the fact that you knew she had a boyfriend and you still gave her those car rides and hung out with her at the comic book shop and invited her to the party, you were basically trying to sneak in them draws, knowing damn well that she had a man because you didn't give a damn that she had a boyfriend. So the fact that she told you, she was like, oh no, like between me and you, it's not like that. We're just friends. Like I actually care about my boyfriend. Now you want to be all up in your feelings and you want to be mad. And then she was just like, oh, maybe it's time that you do things on your own. And then she walked away and I was like, okay, I'm done with this chick. I'm done with her. So Naomi, she's sitting in the corner. She feels bad. And then that's when Mac shows up. And then she's just like, hey, I have a message from Brutus. Either join the cause or I kill everybody at this party. And then Naomi and Mac, they go outside. And then Naomi's like, I'm not joining the cause. I'm not joining Brutus. And then, she was like, you don't have a choice. And then Mac attacked her. And then while, when Naomi was running from her, she used her power a little bit. But then this is where the D training came in at, because when D was teaching her how to defend herself, when he was teaching her martial arts, how to fight, he was teaching her how to use, the bow staff and everything. That came into play because she found a stick on the floor and she used it to help fight off Mac. So D's training actually proved to be useful after all. And then after she fought him off, then Akira and Zumbadu showed up and they were just like, yo, back away from Naomi. And then she disappeared and she was like, we'll be back, and I'm coming with reinforcements. And then she disappeared. And then Naomi was just left, with Zumbadu and Akira, who she now knows is on her side. So then she ended up going back home. She decided like it's time that she faced the music with her parents. She goes to talk to her. Well, she didn't talk to her parents. She basically went back home, but she told her parents that she wasn't actually ready to talk yet. But things are going to slowly get better in that regard. She's going to talk to her parents. Her parents will eventually explain everything, and then we can get this whole drama aspect over with. And that was how the episode ended. And thank you for tuning in. So the next episode is prom, because at the end of the episode, her boyfriend also finally texted her back because he was still mad because of what she did in the last episode. He finally texted her back, and I guess in the next episode, they're going to prom. They said in the coming attractions that the next episode is the last episode before a 2-hour season finale. So we're getting a 2-hour season finale of Naomi, which basically coincides with episode 13 of The Flash. But Flash, I believe, is going to 20 episodes. So like once Naomi ends, The Flash is going to continue. And I think Superman and Lois ends at that point too, because we're up to episode like 12 with Superman, episode like 11 or 12 with Superman and Lois too. So they said all these shows are going to kind of end around the same time, which is pretty dope. But we're getting the prom episode, so something's going to go down at the prom, and you know, maybe we'll get Brutus in the next episode, you know, so finally see who this dude is. Maybe it's the principal. Like, who knows? And we'll see where everything goes as far as Naomi going back to Earth 29, or maybe we get to see the 29. I'm actually looking forward to that as well. Like I said, the show started off very slow. The show is a lot of character development. It's less action and more character development. I know sometimes when we get a lot of action and not enough character development, people always complain, oh, you didn't develop the characters, So now we're in a situation where you're kind of developing the characters and we're not getting a lot of action. But in this 2-hour season finale, I believe that we will get some more action and character development as well, as far as like telling the story and moving forward. So check me out on Twitter and Instagram, always on YouTube. Share your comments about Naomi. What do you think about the show so far? I mean, because of the whole CW sale, they've already canceled Batwoman. They've already canceled Legends of Tomorrow. They're probably going to cancel Naomi as well. They're going to cancel Superman and Lois probably after the season, and they're going to cancel The Flash. For the people that don't know any better, it's not because the shows are bad and nobody's watching the shows. The CW sold its network, and eventually the rights to all these shows are going to be sold to HBO Max, most likely DC, HBO Max, Warner Brothers. So you can't have these shows still under contract to Netflix and the CW if they're going to eventually be on HBO Max. So they have to technically cancel them in order to bring them back, just like what they did with Marvel when they canceled the Marvel Netflix series, and then, you know, until the contract was up, and then all the rights went to Disney Plus, and now they're all on Disney Plus. So I said I feel the same thing will happen as well, but I don't see Naomi getting renewed by the CW because the CW is basically over at this point because they sold the damn thing. So like I said, so share your questions on comments on that below. I said, you know, hit me up on Instagram as always on YouTube. Like to hit the notification bell, subscribe to my YouTube channel because we got so much good stuff going on. I got Superman and Lois on the channel. I got The Flash on the channel. I got, you know, Naomi. We're doing Moon Knight for the Marvel fans. And as always, we got that Young Justice. So thanks for tuning in, guys. So till next week as we count down to the end of Naomi, take care. Look out to the stars. Look out for the 29. And I'm out this